It started actually here in Vermont on a Sunday. People probably remember Bennington was actually the first case that was reported in Vermont. Let's see if I can move this thing. Hold on, give me. Oh, I can. Okay, there we go. That's better. It was probably, I don't know, early afternoon on Sunday the 8th that we received word that there was the first possible case in Bennington. That turned out to be confirmed pretty quickly. That same day, the town appointed Dr. Sterling as our point person on COVID-19. I don't even think at that point we were even calling it COVID-19. I think everything was coronavirus. Now I think COVID-19 is kind of stuck. Dr. Sterling is specializes in emergency medicine. He's a major in the Air National Guard. And him and his wife run the Manchester Medical Center on Bonnet Street. He also practices at the Bennington Hospital and the Berkshire Hospital. There he is, actually. I just put his picture in here in case somebody in town doesn't recognize him. They've probably seen him at the grocery store. His wife is actually a BBA grad. I forget where Tom's from, but he's not from Manchester. The select board actually had the wherewithal. You appointed him June of 2019 as the deputy health officer, and then Peter in the zoning and planning and assessing office was appointed as the health officer. So Peter is Tom's boss. I guess if you look at it from that perspective, Peter does mostly tenant landlord issues, anything like that, wildlife type stuff. Tom, the idea of appointing him as the deputy health officer was actually pandemics and other sort of infectious diseases. And then the town manager in Vermont serves as the emergency management director by state law. So those are the three people sort of up front. There's a lot more to come in here, though. Ivan and Wayne were invited to a meeting on Monday the 9th. It was an all-hands-on-deck meeting at Town Hall, where Dr. Sterling and John from Dr. Sterling's office gave a pretty long briefing to town department heads and other staff. We couldn't invite the entire select board because it was so quickly put together that we couldn't create a quorum. At that meeting, though, we set up a system to communicate between ourselves. We have a COVID-19 distribution list that information is set out on. We also asked all of the department heads to go through their emergency procedures, go through their equipment, their generators, their vehicles, and to start thinking about a contingency plan based on the information that Dr. Sterling had given us at the time. I'm just going to pause real quick if anybody has any questions so far. That same period of time, we started making some quick decisions. We were supposed to participate in a basketball tournament in Bennington the following weekend of the 14th, 15th, 5th and 6th graders. We pulled out of that, I think, Monday or Tuesday. Pretty quickly after talking to Dr. Sterling, the idea of a multi-team tournament in Bennington with people sweating and people throwing balls back and forth didn't seem like a good idea. We had postponed the select board meeting that we're having now so that we could hook up virtual equipment. The pancake breakfast that the fire department had, which is the last one of this season, was canceled. The senior walking program in pre-K. So those are a couple things right away that we canceled. The health officers, Tom Sterling and Peter, reached out to all of our local schools, Burton, MEMS, and Maple Street, as well as 3 senior living facilities. You've got Bromley Brook that's in the old, that's up by the Perfect Wife, and then Equinox Terrace and Equinox Village. Equinox Terrace is the one that we're looking at most closely, but and you'll see later, Janet Hurley in our office is checking in with the senior living facilities just about every other day to make sure that they don't have any cases. We are struggling with some PPE in those facilities right now that we're trying to rectify. You can see here, just reiterating, during the department head meeting, we asked them all to develop contingency plans. We began right away procuring equipment. cleaning supplies, medical supplies, housing and food, and communications equipment. And we'll go through that a little bit more, but basically on the housing and food, we've stockpiled not a lot of food, but stable food, pasta, sauces, soups, beef stew, canned tuna, canned chicken. I guess I'd probably equate it to boot camp food. It's not great food, but if we had to bunk people, we have the ability to feed them. We also upgraded our sleeping facilities at the fire department from 8 full-size beds to 4 full-size beds and then 6 bunk beds. And the reason we did that is we'll go into it in a little bit more detail later, but we were concerned that we'd have to bunk employees, whether it was at one point we were looking at the police department and having to actually bunk up half of the police department that may not have had contact with a person and quarantine the other half. So any of those sort of conundrums, medical personnel, of course, we may have to bunk as well. Cleaning supplies, we have adequate supplies. Same thing with toilet paper. We haven't been hoarding any of that, but we've got enough to wipe down tables right now and other needs like that. And then communication equipment, we have brought in new conference phones. We now have 3 conference phones, one in the EOC, one in the Kilburn room, and one in the Equinox room that we can use to have conference calls. We also implemented a Vonage conference line that we've used in the last couple weeks to have conference calls as well. And then you can see here, we did redeploy some of the town assets. For example, we had examination tables at Applejack Field, training tables, and we redeployed those to the Manchester Medical Center at their request because they developed a negative pressure room where they are going to start putting people. So we redeployed those. And then we also had some masks, some N95 masks that we redeployed out to the healthcare field as well. We have a very limited supply for police officers right now. And that's the only group that's in town that's really getting access to that equipment. Oh, that's a duplicate. Okay. We also, you can see here, actually, I can scroll around. We did activate the EOC. Actually, here's a good look at it if anyone's interested. There's the entrance to it over there. That is Peter's workstation there. There's your flag, Ivan. The camera actually goes almost around in 360 degrees, but and then there's my little workstation over there. And that's the entrance to the rescue squad. So we activated the EOC. We've actually implemented some HVAC equipment. Maybe you can actually see it here. We brought in a new fresh air handler. And you see that? Probably not. And then there's this air cleaner over here. Oh, you're not going to see it. Sorry. So we brought in a new air cleaning system. We've also brought in additional televisions. It's become more and more apparent that all of the emergencies that we have are going to be TV-based. So there's a TV behind us that we have CNN on just about 24/7, and then there's a smaller TV over here in case we need to watch 2 shows at the same time. We're now open here minimally. We have Peter from planning and zoning and assessing is in here, and I'm in here. Everybody else has been redeployed into different areas.